How's it going, everybody? My name is Alpine Hippie, and today we're going to be doing my new show, Lucky Sevens. Now, Lucky Sevens is a show where I will be sharing with you 7 things that I just love too much and I can't decide in which order that I like them. There are surprisingly many of these things that I just can't, for the life of me, decide which ones I actually like the most. This ranges from books to movies, and in today's case, anime. I know, another anime video, but I will tell you, I had so much fun making that last video. And for today's Lucky Sevens, we are going to be doing my top 7 anime fight scenes, baby. You can just do more animating something than you can doing it live action. And that doubles down even more with fight scenes. There is just nothing like a well-done anime fight scene. The one that we're going to be opening with today is from one of my favorites, Demon Slayer. Here's a little quick spoiler alert from Spencer in the future. I'm going to be covering a few kind of important plot points in a couple of the shows that we're going to be covering today, so just thought I'd give you guys a heads up. This particular fight is Tengen, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu versus the Upper Six Moon. This fight ranges throughout multiple episodes, but the parts that I'm going to be covering right now are the climax. This is the one that I feel pretty comfortable is at least number 1 and number 2 in my book. Visual-wise, it's unbeatable. I mean, it is amazing what this studio has done to get all these characters and all these moments and put it on a screen in the most beautiful way possible. It is so fast-paced, it is so just like smooth, and it just keeps you drawn in the entire time. This is one of those things that I remember watching it when it premiered the day of, and I was like jumping out of my seat cheering by myself in my house. As pathetic as that sounds, it was one of the best days of my goddamn life. Now, the next one on the queue is Saitama versus Lord Boros.
だったらこっちも切り札を使うぜ。必殺マジシリーズマジ殴り。
You may know Saitama if you follow some of my older videos. This particular episode is the final one of the season, and it is an absolute banger. It is the biggest, most crashing, climactic battle in the entire show up to that point. This entire battle is just to put on full display absolutely how powerful Saitama is. It really does just load up every single, like, overpowered anime villain trope and just hucks it at Saitama for, like, 8 minutes straight, and he just doesn't flinch until he, does his one punch and finishes it all, and it is just so good. I love it so much. Number 3 is going to be Kenny Squad versus Captain Levi. Now, some of you may be surprised that I'm throwing in an Attack on Titan fight with no Titans. I'm sorry, it's so good. This entire fight is just mobility gear to its finest. It's just watching Captain Levi put on full display how good he is, how impressive he is, and it's just awesome. Visually, the colors, the movement, the motion, it is just beautiful. The background between these two characters just adds so much to the, fight itself. And there isn't really a part in this fight that isn't just fun to watch. Like, even the parts that, stop and it becomes a little bit of an old Western standoff at one point. It's just awesome. Everything is so intense, well done. The dialogue, the action. I love this fight so much. It's just so good. The 4th fight that I'm going to be talking about today is Kurapika versus Uvojin from Hunter x Hunter. The reason this fight was just so cool to me watching it was that up until this point in the show, I didn't realize exactly how powerful Krepika was. He goes against some minor villains in the show, and you don't really see him at his full potential, but Krepika's powers come on full display in this fight for a few reasons. You see that because of the adversary he is facing, he gets a couple more tools added to his toolbox. You learn that he becomes what's called a specialist, and he has access to 5 times the power that most of these people have in the show. And it is just so cool. It's so creative too. It's not just boring, power tactics. It is like 5 different tools that he has access to, and he uses them to full potential in this fight. This villain is one of the most powerful in the entire show. So it's just so cool to watch him actually have an opponent that is made for him and that can just pick him apart. And he eventually, wins the fight, obviously, Krepika. And it's a pretty heart-wrenching and amazing conclusion. This one really holds a special place in my heart. I love this fight. And I love you too, Krepika. You deserve better, my man. Number 5 today is going to be Satoru versus Jogo.
無料空所すべてを与えられると何もできず
This one is really, really, really different than all the other ones. It's not as much fast-paced action, or at least the part that I love. It is just visually incredible, and all the concepts behind it is just so freaking good. The whole infinite void thing, the concept of giving your enemy absolutely everything, but because of that, not having the ability to do anything, is such a unique idea, and just the sinisterness of Satoru is amazing. I love how intimidating he is. Even though he is one of the protagonists in the show, he is just a menace to every single person around him, even the people he's training and working with, just because of how powerful he is. And this is really the first time that you see that on full display here. Number 6, this one is the Rock Lee versus Gaara fight from Naruto. Now, I feel like most people have heard of Naruto. That one's probably like the most ingrained in pop culture to people who don't watch anime. The one scene in particular that just got me from Naruto was this one right here where Rock Lee takes off his ankle weights and everyone's just like, oh man, no big deal. They're just ankle weights.
少しくらいの重りを外したところでガーラの砂についていけるわけが
And then they just hit the floor in this massive uproar, and everyone is just completely blown away, and the fight just totally takes a turn for Rock Lee's side of things for such a small thing. And it is just a great moment. I remember being 12 watching this and just freaking out, being like, oh, yes, Rock Lee, go. And yeah, no, and even to this day, I still just love watching that scene. It's so much fun and it never gets old. All right, last but certainly not least is Carmilla versus Isaac from Castlevania. Now, this fight is pretty brutal. It is the conclusion to the person I hate most in the show, which probably plays a little bit of a factor in getting in this part. But I just hate Carmilla so dang much. She is the worst, most evil, manipulative piece of garbage in that entire show. And it is so fun to watch her fight Isaac, who is one of the best developed characters in that entire show, and has such a cool little spin at the end. It's lovely watching them fight. The fight itself is visually incredible, watching Isaac, who is, slightly less powerful, using his minions, if you don't know what the show is, to fight. And it's just a pleasure to watch this end for both characters in the show. All right, so there's my first Lucky Sevens. I hope you all enjoyed it. This one was a lot of fun for me to make. Of course, it's just me talking about stuff I like. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of video. I love talking about the things I'm passionate about and sharing them with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it too. And with all that being said, signing off.